Varuna, Vajrāsana,
the undefiable Dhamma.
Sampajanna meditation. We have been asked to provide an explanation as to what the Sampajanna meditation is. It is thorough awareness or complete alertness that is maintained with mindfulness at each and every moment. If one is able to discern fully and timely whether his actions, words and thoughts are driven by lobha, dvesha and moha with thorough awareness, Sampajanna meditation is fully operational. Lobha means greed, dvesha means aversion, and moha means delusion. So what has to be observed in this regard? The alertness or the Sampajanna that has to be maintained is fourfold. There are Sarthaka Sampajanna, Sappaya Sampajanna, Gochara Sampajanna and Asammoha Sampajanna. We need to check as to how purposeful our course of actions is for the attainment of nirvana. How are we going to attain nirvana if we think this way? How will this sort of speech lead to the attainment of nirvana? This way, we need to cross-check how purposeful or success-driven or sarthaka our actions are to achieve nirvana. This is called the sarthaka sampajanna. We need to understand this insightfully. Suppose we are practicing this particular karmasana. Rupang aniccaṃ, vedana anicca, saññā anicca, saṅkhāra anicca, viññāna aniccanti. How are we going to draw conclusions on the purposefulness of these words in the accomplishment of nirvana? When the anicca of the rupa is recollected, we would come to see how they fail to conform to our liking and how they go into viparinama. If these attributes are the norm or dharmata held by the rupa, should I intend to maintain something in a particular manner as opposed to the other? Would it be kept as intended? Will it ever conform to one's liking? When we understand the Dhamma we hear, we draw conclusions as to how rupa fails to conform to our liking and therefore how it fails to meet our aspirations. With this understanding, one becomes aware as to how the words Rupang Aniccaṃ hold true. When the non-essence or the asaratva of the rupa is seen, what would happen to our affinity towards rupa? Will it increase or decrease? Consider this in terms of Dhamma. If one holds on to the conclusion that the manavadana or pleasant rupa is of essence, that will result in the increase of his raga, dvesha and moha. That much is clearly inferred. When it is recollected that the so-called manavadana rupa is of non-essence, the misconception that was previously held as to the worthiness of rupa disintegrates. The moment such misconception as to the worthiness of rupa disintegrate, had we had some chandaraga or blind infatuation over rupa, that too would disintegrate. When one knows how all rupa, past, present and future, have the same downsides, the chandaraga over the entire rupa skandha breaks up. When the chandaraga over the rupa skandha breaks up, it becomes certain that it would not cause any future upadana or clinging. When all upadana cease to arise, so would all bhava or dispositions. When all bhava cease to arise, so would all jati. Thus, this would be the root of nirodha of jara, marana, shoka, parideva, dukkha, domanassa and upayasa. Accordingly, it seems that the recollection of the reality using the words Rupang Aniccaṃ would serve its purpose. This is how the Sarthaka Sampajanna can be observed insightfully. If we practice these words, Rupang Anicchang, would it be beneficial to the attainment of Nirvana? When the reality is recollected along the lines of these words, Rupang Anicchang, will it necessarily bring about these emotions to the mind? These words are some conventional words. Using them, are we able to draw some benefit for the achievement of Nirvana? This is how to observe the Sapaya Sampajanna insightfully. Is the association with something acceptable to the purpose of the attainment of Nirvana? Acceptable or not? If the considered action contributes to the increase in raga, such as singing a pop song, that would be unacceptable to the achievement of Nirvana. Associating with such phenomena that would bring about Vitaragi, Vitadosi, Vitamohi qualities would be acceptable for the purpose of achieving Nirvana. If the set of words that we are chanting increases the level of moha or delusion, that would be quite unacceptable for the purpose of achieving Nirvana. If so, that would make the sentient beings more delusional, and it would obstruct the clearance of the noble path to Nirvana. If, on the other hand, the set of words chanted makes us see the reality of the worldly phenomena, and therefore bring about the destruction of desire, aversion, and delusion, it would deliver the sentient beings from moha. This is how to observe the Asammoha Sampajanna, or the non-delusional Sampajanna, insightfully. Accordingly, each and every action that we associate with should go through this test of checking if it is fitting for the purpose of the attainment of Nirvana. It is a checklist where these 4 aspects has to be ticked off before it can be associated with. It should be purposeful, beneficial, acceptable for the purpose of achieving Nirvana, as well as non-delusional. In the early stages, it might take some effort to observe these, but with time, it would only become the second nature. Is it purposeful, beneficial, acceptable, and non-delusional? With each action, these 4 clearance tests come to the mind. That is evidence of a developed Sampajanna meditation. When mastered, the checklist of the 4-fold Sampajanna occurs the moment a thought arises to commit an action. If mastered to the level where it triggers the ticking off of all 4 points in the checklist within a blink of an eye, and acted in accordance with the results of the test, the Sampajanna meditation is said to be complete in all regards. This is the nature of an arahant. At early stages, the checklist comes to the mind after committing an action only. Once a good or bad deed has been done, it occurs to the individual afterwards as to how and why that deed became good or bad. This is evidence of a mind that is still developing. If the action is not purposeful, not beneficial, not acceptable to the achievement of Nirvana, as well as delusional, he would feel ashamed. He would disgrace himself for acting like a dumb brat, even after knowing the reality of the worldly phenomena. He would investigate as to why these thoughts were not triggered before committing the unwholesome deed. He realizes that he has given into delusion, and he would make a resolution to practice and master the Sampajanna meditation. He would make a vow to gain ayati sangvaraya by practicing Indriya Bhavana. Ayati sangvaraya means the restraint in sense basis. Indriya Bhavana means the development of sense faculties. Before proceeding with an action, he mentally ticks off the 4 points in the Sampajanna checklist. This is a meditation that would enhance one's wisdom. With the enhancing wisdom, one is able to see the unfitting nature of the worldly phenomena for the purpose of achieving nirvana. The virtues of the peace in disenchantment, dispassion, and emancipation from the worldly phenomena is understood. The reassuring nature of nirvana is grasped. With this understanding, the aspiration he had previously had towards the 5 aggregates and the affinity towards unwholesome actions, words, and thoughts become renounced, with profound understanding of their non-essence. With this renunciation, the development of the noble path takes place, yielding the achievement of the fruition of the noble path, or the stages of the stream enterer, once returner, never returner, and arahant. With the initial understanding of Dhamma, one becomes a stream enterer. That occurs with listening to Dhamma and its understanding. With that, the noble path is identified with conviction. Afterwards, the remaining fruitions of the noble path, in the form of the stages of once returner, never returner, and arahant, are pursued. Following the noble path prompts the gradual purification of mind. An arahant is able to identify all phenomena that would cause ragadesha moha, and he instantaneously would seek refuge in disenchantment, dispassion, and emancipation. He is able to discern how the mind is delivered or not affected by raga, dvesha, moha beforehand. Even the anushaya, or the latent disposition of defilements, has been dismantled. Now the aramanu, or sense objects, are encountered, but they are unable to trigger any desire within the mind. While the path was being developed, the incoming sense objects triggered desire within the mind. And when that happened, the mindful recollection of the nature of the worldly phenomena was helpful in gaining ayati sangvaraya. This is how the noble path is developed. One day, it would be observed that the incoming sense objects are not bound to with desire. Even with deliberate attempting to be bound with desire, no desire would be triggered by the sense objects. The reason being the destruction of even the latent disposition of desire. Now, the one who has been delivered becomes aware of such deliverance as it is. There will not be anything pending to accomplish the noble path. Everything that needs to be done has been done. All internal defilements have been dispelled. There would be no more latent disposition of ignorance. With that, one can declare the achievement of the arahantship. There would be nothing else left to do to cease the arising of the samsaric journey. One has to come to this conclusion of the attainment of arahantship in accordance with Dhamma only. There would be no point in asking others as to if the arahantship has been achieved or not. Seeing lights during meditation, feelings of levitation, are no evidence of the achievement of any fruition of the noble path. The judgment has to be arrived at in line with the Dhamma. Understand this thoroughly and act in accordance.
Waharaka Thera Waruna Wajrāsana.
The undefilable Dhamma.